A FAM production for all things mattress. FAM.news.
We were at Las Vegas Market, boots on the ground. We saw the sides of the buildings. Was traffic light? Was traffic just right? What are people making predictions about in regards to the future of mattress markets in the United States? This is the Dos Marcos Show.
Welcome to the Dos Marcos Show with Mark Kinsley and Mark Quinn, where mattress and furniture leaders gather to grow, get the inside scoop, tell stories, and take tequila shots.
Uno, dos, tequila!
Welcome aboard. Here's your passport to a planet filled with the mattress industry's brightest minds and biggest ideas. Meet your guides.
I'm Mark Kinsley, President and CEO of Englander.
And I'm Mark Quinn, co-founder of Spink & Co. and VP of Sherwood Bedding.
Together, they are Dos Marcos.
The galaxy's greatest mattress podcast has liftoff in 3, 2, 1.
I get back from Nationwide Primetime, and I had a day at home before I was heading out to Las Vegas Market. So let me set the stage for you. I get home from Nashville. I walk in the door. I drop my suitcase. My wife gives me a hug, and she says, "You smell like a smokestack." Now, she knows that, about my past, and I'm like, I was not smoking, I promise. But the Uber driver who picked me up from the airport smoked in his car. And that's how I ended my trip home from Nashville. It's not how you want to end a trip, typically. But that's just the beginning of the story. I'm going to tell you the rest of the story after we tell you a little bit about how you can get the research that everybody keeps texting us about. So if you text us at 843-MARCOS2, we're going to be able to send you the research. Or here's the easy way to get it. We partnered with Nationwide Marketing Group, 2,000 mattress buyers who purchased in the past 12 months, and we got some rich data. We've already talked about a little bit on the show, but the entire deck is yours. It's waiting on you right now, patiently waiting at fam.news. All you do is go to fam.news, FAM.NEWS, and at the very top, there's a link up there that says 2021 Mattress Buyers Research. Click to join the FAM and gain free access. So this is what we partnered up with Nationwide on. This is what we presented at Primetime, and this is what is going to give you insights to help you shape your business going into 2021, the back half and beyond. Is that fair, Quinn?
It is fair, and it's really great that, when we kind of start talking to Nationwide about this initially, they have a marketing research proficiency inside of that business. So they were on board right away. It was just a matter of what do we want to learn? And so we worked on it together, and Jeff Rose was on stage with us, and we had a great time presenting it. But tons of people, Kinsley, want the data, and I don't blame them. There's a lot of good information in there. So stay tuned, guys, too, because we're also going to be doing some web shows and things where we actually analyze the data. So anyway, thanks to Nationwide for charging into that and helping their members understand their business and be informed differently so they're making better decisions about their strategy and their business. So.
And if you are a data hound like us, you got to get with door counts, because this is like, it's almost like planting a website on top of your business. With a website, you can see heat mapping and conversion rates, and did somebody add it to their cart? Well, this is like door counts. And if you go to doorcounts.com right now, you can see the completely redesigned user interface, and it's a 1, 2, 3. Here's how easy it is. With the click of a button, your salespeople connect to customers as they walk through the door. Second click is going to record what happened. Sale, no sale, potential sale. And a third click gives you key performance metrics by the minute from anywhere, on any device, all of your stores. Start today at doorcounts.com. We love our friends at Door Counts.
Love them.
And Quinn, I started off with this travel story, right? So I get home from Nashville. We've been traveling. You've been traveling. And this is not how you want to end your trip to Nashville. And the second part of this is not how you want to begin your trip to Las Vegas Market. But one thing I did have in my bag was this handy dandy from colonialpromotions.com, this handy dandy golf shoe tote bag. Now, yes, it's a golf shoe tote bag, and you can find it at colonialpromotions.com. It is black nylon. It has a U-shaped zipper closure, and it's perfect for carrying your golf shoes while traveling. I just carry my running shoes in it because when you run and you pound the pavement, you don't want your crappy shoes going back with your nice clothes. So I seal it up, and it's perfect to travel with.
That's beautiful. And if you want to put like food in here, you can put food in here, right? Yeah. It's not just shoes. Snacks. It could be for anything. It could be for hats. It could be for a ball of yarn. If you're doing some knitting, you could do that, right?
Your needles, you put the needles in there. They're going to be a lot safer from poking through if you're doing some knitting.
How about some extension cord carrying cases? Food, you could put your snacks in here.
You said snacks twice. Are you hungry?
I kind of feel like I am. Yeah. Well, that's good.
Well, what do you travel with?
This is my thing right here. So I have always watched people in airports, and they've got their own bottle. And my tradition is I get through security, and then I go into a store and I buy a bottle of water, and then I buy like a Cliff Bar or something in case I get hungry on the plane or we're delayed. Well, I always see people carrying around the bottles, and I just didn't have one. And then, the guys at Colonial sent us these very cool branded Dos Marcos. By the way, you can put your own brand. You don't have to have ours on there. And so, anyway, it fits in my briefcase perfectly, and I carry it with me, and I just go to a water fountain. They have the filtered things now. You can just stick it right under, and it fills it up, and I love it. It's awesome. I don't have to pay $4 for a bottle of water. I just carry my nifty travel thermos.
Keeps you cold for up to 10 hours, keeps it hot for 10. And this is all from colonialpromotions.com. We heard from Wes that thank you for mentioning us, because many of you have already reached out to Wes and Tim and the team at Colonial. These are project managers, sales consultants. They have the unique ability, listen to this, to kit and manage high volume, time definite product distribution. We're showing you a lot of what they've sourced because it's the good quality stuff. But head over to colonialpromotions.com and you can see the products of the day from us at Dos Marcos and the fam. And we were talking about these travel items.
So I have something for you. Are you ready? And then we can get into the show.
You just gave me the goalpost. I had to pause.
No, I was because I'm so excited. You ready? So this is.
I was about to kick the football.
Yeah. This is a very exciting thing. And you have to pick the movie. Are you ready? But see, you're younger than me by a good bit, so maybe you won't. But you ready? It's I'm picking out a thermos for you. Not an ordinary thermos will do. Extra best thermos that money can buy, with a lid and a cover and something built right in. Name that movie, Kinsley.
I cannot name that movie. Adrian is our producer. She's on the show.
Adrian,
do you know?
No,
nothing.
So there are people in the audience raising.
Please stop singing that.
There are people in the audience raising their hand, and I'm doing this like I'm milking a cow because when Steve Martin sings this in The Jerk, he's in a bathtub and he's squeezing water through his hands, and it's like a little water fountain at the same time. So anyway, it's the best thermos song I've ever heard. So I feel like it was
That
appropriate.
is a phenomenal thermos song. I don't think I've ever heard a better thermos
Thank
song,
you.
and we appreciate you for that today, Quinn. We want to recognize you for that.
Thank you.
Well.
That's all free.
So
part of the free.
It's all
podcast.
free.
Anyway, so a lot going on, Kinsley. Vegas market. How was it for you?
So
you
went
guys
to
were
Vegas
busy
market.
as hell. Every time I walked by, you had like people in your showroom.
Yeah, I had somebody tugging at my sleeve in the Englander space for at least 2 days in a row. Every time I turned around, we had our sales guys doing FaceTime tours with the product for people that didn't come to market. We were slammed. I'm sitting here going, I have very low expectations for what traffic is going to be at Las Vegas market. And yeah, traffic was low. But, when we roll out 14 new models, I think there was interest there and there was attention and people came in to see it. And, my expectations were also very low, Quinn, because of how the trip started. So I've got to finish the second part of that story. So I came home from Nashville smelling like a smokestack. I'm home for a day, do a load of laundry, getting packed up and heading out to Vegas. So I had scheduled my Uber at that point. And so I'm packed up. I got my jacket on. I got my backpack. I got my suitcase. And I looked down at the Uber that had accepted my ride. And I thought, nah, surely not. Surely not. Surely not. And then I look closer and I'm like, it's him. It's the same chimney that just dropped me off a day and a half ago. He's the one that accepted my ride. So here I am, My wife says I smell like smoke as soon as I get back from my trip to Nashville. And this is the guy that chooses to pick me up. I'm like, I'm going to start the trip smelling like smoke again. So I thought, okay, you know what? Big deal. Vegas casinos are smoky anyway, even though you have a mask on because there's a mask mandate in Vegas. We're going out. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Just move on. Here we go. Start the trip. I go out my front door with my suitcase in hand, my backpack slung over my shoulder. And I'm walking to the back of, his name's Tony, by the way. I'm walking to the back of Tony's SUV. And it's as if a bolt of lightning hit my body because I fell straight to the ground. And what had happened was AT&T in my driveway has this green plastic lid junction box of sorts, and the lid was not on there properly, and I fell into the hole. And so I fall all the way into the hole. My foot finally finds the ground. My body slams against the rocks of my driveway, and I rip off the last remaining handle on my suitcase. There was only one left. I'd already seen the guys doing the javelin throw with it or the hammer throw and ripped off the other. So I rip off the last handle. I'm laying on the ground. I'm covered in mud. And Tony, the smoky driver, comes over, and he goes, "Man, are you okay? I've never seen anything like that happen. I thought that you got pulled into the earth by a poltergeist." I'm just laying there on the ground, like laughing to myself because I was like, "This is okay. It's all gonna be." So fine.
He was in the driver's seat. Was he watching you from the rearview mirror?
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, he saw the whole thing and he got out to make sure I was okay. And so I went inside. You know, I washed off the mud off my jeans and got scrubbed up and got in the car, and it still smelled like smoke from a couple days before. And off to Vegas I went. And I thought, man, this is a kind of an unlucky start. So I'm probably not going to pull out my wallet in Vegas and do much gambling.
Yeah, probably don't want to do that. Definitely. Well, what did you think? So you had great traffic though. So you survived the pitfall and the poltergeist. So thank God. You know, you didn't have to
survive the pitfall and the poltergeist.
For the record, if it was necessary, I would get the whole tennis ball and find that little blonde girl. I think she might be dead, but I'd go into the light for you, man. I'd come looking. I would.
That's a reference to Poltergeist, correct?
That's correct.
For our listeners that don't know Steve Martin movies or horror films.
Come into the light. Come into the light. Anyway, I go in the light for you. That's where you have to go to fight the poltergeist. But so Kinsley, to Vegas market, man, there was a lot of mixed reaction. I think the primary reaction, though, was that traffic was incredibly light. I think a lot of people were probably expecting that. But here's the thing. It was incredibly light because we just came out of a hugely successful, well-attended nationwide event with, I think, over 3,000 people is what they ended up having. And then Brand Source basically shoots the high sign to market and says, don't care about you. We've got this. And they planned, or maybe it was the other way around, and Vegas Market put their dates on top of Brand Source. I'm not sure how that worked out. But anyway, Brand Source was the exact same time. Their show was the exact same time as Vegas Market. And so, I mean, you're not going to get traffic at both. That's going to be a challenge. But anyway, so that's the story. So it was light, but, you know, probably for some good reason. But then the question, I think, for the Vegas Market people is, knowing that that's the case, and there's everyone clamoring now for the travel dollar and people's attention in person, and people aren't going to go to a bunch of stuff. Maybe, you know, we did because we had to, but, you know, retailers and whatnot, they're probably, with the COVID stuff that's going on, less exposure is better. So they're going to be way more picky on where they book tickets and where they go, right? So the question is, does Las Vegas Market have a compelling enough story and reason to come to get their traffic back this next fall to what it would normally be? What are your thoughts there?
A lot of people I see trying to be predictive here are saying the cadence is going to return for the most part in 2022 because we are in a touch it, feel it. If I'm going to invest big dollars, make major line changes, I want to see the product in person type of industry. And I think that's going to be true. Now, do I think it's going to be true in its strictest terms? Meaning, are we going to go back to markets and that's it. And we're not going to have some sort of hybrid approach that involves, something like, Juniper Commerce, which is IMC's wholesale buying platform.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's going to change. I think it's going to evolve. And let me give you a little snippet of reality here that we can all think about. You just described it, Quinn. You described it in that a lot of buyers chose to go to their buying group event. Like you said, Brand Source was during market, Nationwide Primetime was previous to market. And I know I talked to a lot of our dealers who decided, hey, I'm going to go to Nationwide Primetime and I'm not going to go to market. They chose one or the other. Now, that's not the snippet I want to give you. Here's the lay of the land I want us to think about. SSB, Serta Simmons Betting, pulled out of their Las Vegas market lease in 2020, and they went to virtual shows, and they've not shown signs of renewing a lease at Las Vegas market. But meanwhile, when you go to the buying group shows, who's there?
Everybody.
SSB.
Yeah.
SSB launched their 15X Arctic product. It's supposed to be 15 times cooler. They reached out to us about it and told us about it. Sure enough, there it was on display. That's where that product launch was happening. It was not happening at Las Vegas market because they're not there. I heard that Spring Air wasn't there. King Coil didn't open up. Ashley didn't open up. The biggest exhibitor at Las Vegas market on the 16th floor of the C building, A building, C or A, one of the others. They have the express elevator. That's all I know. So when you look at the lay of the land, does it just evolve? Back in the day, you had Dallas market, you had San Francisco was a mattress market at one point. Now it's Vegas in the winter. That's the big market. Do we need the summer market? People are starting to question that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a one approach fits all, but it does show the shift in the landscape. And I think the coastline for markets and mattress introductions has been altered. Now, what is it going to look like whenever the storm passes and 2022 does roll around? Well, heck, everybody thought when 2021 rolled around, things were going to be more stable, and they haven't proven to be. So I just think those dynamics are worth looking at, because if I'm putting my money in the pot, if I'm spending my cash to merchandise my retail floor, I got to get my hands on something. And I don't think when it comes to big items, when it comes to the aesthetic and the feel and how does it sit, how does it lay, if I'm investing my money thinking I can sell this, I got to get my hands on this stuff.
Yeah, you're right. We're in a touchy-feely market. Totally agree with that. And I think with furniture and the mattress category, I think it helps. I think that the fall market, Kinsley, forever, that's where people launch big programs. And I think that there's a lot of reason to believe that, that's where that's going to happen, not for SSB, right? I had a conversation with Karen and Dorothy and Renee at the Vegas Market Center while I was there for some fan business, right? And they're delightful people. I mean, I really enjoyed my time with them. And they know that there's an opportunity for them to evolve and do some cool stuff. And they've been talking about some really cool stuff. And Juniper, to your point, that B2B exchange platform. So there's tons there. So they're on it and they're thinking about it differently, and they are fully aware of the buying groups and the shows. And, I think the one thing for a manufacturer is that when you go to a buying show, retailers come with a checkbook. There's a day where there's discounted product and the buyer palooza at the nationwide event and big discounts and incentive to purchase things. And I think manufacturers like that. I also think that the way they entertain people, they had Little Big Town and they made it fun. And there was some of that. I also think the way that Nationwide stays in touch with their members throughout the year. So it's not an event that they're going to. They understand that they need to be adding value to the retailer, obviously their member, but also the manufacturer. And they figure out ways to help the manufacturer to market inside of that membership and that structure. And so I think they're doing some things differently. And I think that, Vegas Market is who they are. I mean, great buildings and a great place to be, and they've done a terrific job for a lot of time. But things are changing, and people are gonna start force ranking where they're gonna go and where they're gonna spend time. And when you start doing that, return on
things are changing. And
yeah,
I mean, look at the research we just did. 64% of people are likely to not try their mattress next time they buy. Mm-hmm. This is from recent mattress buyers. So we know things are changing. And so with that shift, does the approach to merchandising, to buying, does that change? Well, I can tell you this, based on a lot of conversations on market, I hear from a lot of people out there, retailers, big retailers, that are going for an endless aisle approach. And they want to have different manufacturers drop shipping products. They want to potentially warehouse some of those products and ship them out. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be on their floor, but they want to be able to sell you online. And that was from multiple categories, not just the mattress category. That is happening. So if that's your mentality, I mean, I saw it. Some of these buyers were coming in and not even really caring about the product that much. So they weren't trying it as well. They weren't touching and feeling it. They just want to be able to compete in that space, and get their share of it.
Yeah, and to see it all in one location and to be able to, because, the great thing about Vegas market is you have so much assortment. Like there's a lot to pick from, right? So the buying groups kind of vet that and they allow people in, and you have a limited access to, to certain manufacturers. You have to be, approved by nationwide guys. So Vegas certainly offers you more selection. But so Kinsley, go back to the sort of Simmons betting thing, right? And so if you're Tempur-Pedic, TSI, then you're loving that decision because they're not going to be at Vegas market in February. But I kind of get why SSB did it, for their own reasons. But man, that just seems like when Tempur-Pedic has so much momentum, for them not to be at Vegas market, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they've run the numbers and pro-conned it and had some very healthy debates, but I think it's a little risky for them, actually.
Well, I talked to a lot of smart people, and I asked them what their predictions were. Did anybody know that we would get a big boost in the mattress business based off COVID? And nobody said that they thought that would be the case. So I think there are a lot of smart people in the industry dealing with a lot of, changing circumstances. And I think if we try to make predictions right now, we would look back in 2022 and maybe kind of chuckle a little bit. So, I think in our industry, a lot of times I keep hearing people talk about like how things are going to shake out, what it's going to look like when the dust settles. And that's the old school way of thinking about it. The dust will not settle. I think those days are gone. Those days are gone when you had a heavy, bulky item that you could either deliver in your box truck or put on the top of a station wagon, regionally produced. So the days are gone where the dust is going to settle and the new normal is going to emerge. I think it's a constantly shape-shifting industry that we're in, and keeping up is going to be imperative. And I think one of the ways we want to help you keep up is with this new research approach to the FAM. We talked about it on the last show, but we got a lot more data. And if you go to fam.news, right there at the top, you click on it, you go over, become a member of the FAM, and you get instant access. Right now, you can get it. All you got to do is just fill out a little thing. Boom, you get instant access to the entire deck that we presented. Yeah, the data is 64% not likely to try next time. Then we dig into that. How many people that bought online are happy with that purchase effectively? What part of Mark Quinn's body is his tattoo located? That's in the research deck too, because research should not be boring. And don't ruin it for him, Quinn, by taking off your clothes right now.
Well, if anyone's been listening to this show, they know the answer to that. It's like picking out the Thermos song. People know. They know where that song came from.
His face. I know it's on his face.
And before we bounce out of here, I want to say it was really fun getting with Mike Magnuson and Jeff Cassidy. Guys from goodbed.com and Mike It Up podcast. We had a family dinner there. And of course, very glad we got Dave Perry to sit down with us. And it was awesome to get to spend some time with him and hear about his son and the recovery of his son and how that's continuing to progress. So thanks for making time with us, Dave, and just a lot of really good stuff, happening there. So it was a lot of fun. And always great to see people and connect with them. And that was a really cool thing. And by the way, as we go to just getting my feels on after the emotional side of seeing people we hadn't seen in a long time, we know there's a lot of people out there dealing with some things. I mean, you got Afghanistan and, military, and some people have family over there, and then everything with the storm and everyone in New Orleans and Mississippi. And so we know you're struggling with a lot of that. Kinsley and I have lived through some of that natural disaster. So just a note, thoughts and prayers with you guys. Stay strong. Your fam's behind you and in your corner.
Yeah, and we want to acknowledge also, I think it's people went to these shows and some of them came back with COVID. And it's really sad.
Yeah.
And we're cheering for you, and we want you to be healthy. We want you to be well. And so there's a lot going on in the world, and it's just things have changed. We all know they've changed, and we don't necessarily want them. We don't necessarily want the change that's happened. But look, we got to stick together. Let's cheer each other on. Let's try to turn our thoughts into actions. That's something that's been on my heart a lot lately. If I think about a friend, I want to be intentional about telling them I'm thinking about them. Like I took a picture of this box, and it was the same box, but it had different messages on different sides. And on the top, it said Big Joe. These were like bean bags or something my wife got for her classroom. On the top, it said Big Joe. And on the bottom, it said absurdly awesome. Well, my roommate in college, his name was Big Joe. So sending him the picture, I was like, these are two true statements. Big Joe is absurdly awesome. But try to turn your thoughts into actions. If somebody's on your mind, I think more room for good quality emotion and connection is a good thing right now, because we need each other.
We do.
I need you, Quinn. I need you, Adrian. I love you guys.
I need you guys too. Love back to you both. You and I talked about, it's kind of weird. Like, we're always trying to figure out how to feel about some of the stuff that's going on. And so if you're listening to this, I love the shirts. I keep saying it's okay to not be okay. And I think that one of the books, I was telling you about a book, Kinsley, that I was reading, and Adrian, Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And I love this one part where he is on this path of enlightenment, and there's a lot going on in his life. And so he wants to go and he wants to talk to this shaman and get it all out and say, I'm lost. I need help. Where's my path? So after Matthew said, after like a half hour of bearing his soul, maybe longer, a couple hours probably, a couple hours of bearing his soul, the high priest kind of sat there and he listened and he says, you know what? Me too. Meaning you're not alone, right? After 3 hours of telling him all the things that were going on and negative and how he's struggling. And so he's like, that was like the best possible thing he could have said, is just to acknowledge that someone else is there. So anyway, go ahead, Kinsley. I can see you getting ready to react to that.
It just made me think of an article I read with another University of Texas student around the same time, Owen Wilson. And of course, Owen Wilson was roommates with Wes Anderson. And I was reading an article about Owen Wilson this morning, and it was just a simple interview with this guy in Esquire magazine. And they went to breakfast in Santa Monica, and the writer was nervous, and he was going to take off. And Owen Wilson, they got to talking. They spent a couple hours together, and he said, "You're nervous. You're really nervous." And he said, "But don't give up before the miracle happens." I just love that. Don't give up before the miracle happens.
Hang in there.
It's here. It's there. You got to hang in there. Don't give up before the miracle happens.
And a miracle can happen for you. All you have to do is subscribe. How do you like that transition? Go and subscribe to the Dos Marcos podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go to the fam. It is Mattress Podcast Heaven. Just look at the header up top. We've got Mike It Up. We've got Matt Man, Andrew Schlescher. We've got the fam stories. And, of course, Dos Marcos. What did I miss?
Just Doors of
BT.
BT.
Hell yeah. Brett Thornton bringing it every day. Love his stuff. So go check that out. And most importantly, share it with a friend. Listen to the show. If you listen to an episode that you connect with or something that's said, or you want someone else to try to figure out the Thermos song, please forward this episode to your friends and family. We want you to be in the know. Kinsley, how you feeling, baby?
Feeling a lot better now, man.
You could bounce on it. Yeah, bounce with it, bounce with it. Bounce with it, bounce with it.
All right.
What is a hybrid? It's like peanut butter jelly, peanut butter chocolate. Hybrid so tight, there's no way that you could topple it. Hybrid on my wrist, that's a calculator watch. We add ourselves together and we take it up a notch.
Got the airflow, yo, keep you cool as it get. Visco foam alone to make you drip sweat. Get a hybrid mattress, yes, you'll get better rest. Cool and comfortable.
Hybrid like a sweater vest.
You know the game, we're ahead of the sun. Cause the two of us together are way better than one. Cause I'm cool as ice
And I'm hot like a heater.
bounce by the ounce, now we got it by the liter.
Well, you take a spring and you wrap it up right. You can sleep so smooth or bounce all night. Put two together, get a whole lot more. Get the feel of the comfort core.
You could bounce on it.
Lay back, you don't have to practice. It's the best thing to happen to your mattress. Get together to do it like I did. Everybody get hybrid.
If you want somebody to get in your vicinity, you probably want to feel a little bit of a hybridity. Foam alone, out of 5, maybe 1 star. Springs and foam, we're taking care of that lumbar. Mad back support, the best way to shack up or just get rest that won't mess your back up.
Like a hot chick mixed with a particle physicist or a mullet. Party in the back of the business. Best of both worlds like Mars and Venus.
The ultimate hybrid.
Nothing short of genius.
Keeping it loose while keeping it tight. We can make you sleep or play all night. Put two together, get a whole lot more. Get the feel of a comfort core.
You could bounce on it.
No stopping when the beat gets played back. Springs keep it popping, foam keeps it laid back. Party over here, get invited. Everybody get hybrid.
Listen, doesn't matter if your kitchen is charming when your bedroom's the most important part of the apartment. What kind of bed do you keep back there? Does your girl wanna chill on a beanbag chair? Hell no!
You need springs and foam, cause if that bowling ball don't bounce, you'll be sleeping alone.
And if the bed don't react, then you can't get low. We got that type of bounce that won't spill your Merlot.
So stick with us and you'll get rewarded.
Cause I'm so gentle.
And I'm so supportive.
Hybrid is where the magic is.
And we just killed a song about mattresses.